Hi, I'm Cece with A21 Freedom Chasers, and I'm joined today with Angelica from Providence Place, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about who she is and what she does.
Hi, everybody. My name is Angelica Cervantes. I'm the Chief Program Officer here at Providence Place. Our amazing organization, we basically strive to break the cycle of generational trauma through innovative services. And we have then a multitude level programming here on site. Basically, the way that we have kind of learned to address generational trauma is through a three-prong approach, which basically means that a lot of our programming um, is going to be focusing on either prevention, intervention, restoration. So on our prevention side, our biggest program that really kind of addresses and assisting families like right before the crisis gets too unbearable is our Parenting with a Purpose programming. So basically, we have a full team made up of case managers, licensed clinicians that actually go out into the community, and we partner with other organizations that are already serving families. So they're already working with these families. So a lot of the connection and rapport has already been built. But as you know, a lot of this work can't be done alone. So our partner organizations need help, and we need to be able to help one another. So we come in to help supplement whatever work our partner organization is doing in any way that we can come in. If it's that they just need additional case management support for their families, our team will go in and provide that on site for them. If the organization is feeling that a lot of their families are feeling increased parental stress, a lot of increased depression, anxiety, whatever that might be, then we can actually send our licensed clinicians on site as well to help those services. And it's of no cost to our partner organization, and it's of no cost to our families. As long as the family is either pregnant or parenting, we can provide those services free of charge. But it's a huge preventative method, mainly for the fact because, families are going through so much, specifically right now because of the pandemic. So people are running out of food. I actually remember back in March when the pandemic hit, we shut down programming like a lot of other organizations. And, you know, as we were trying to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to keep our staff safe, especially our Parenting with a Purpose programming, since they're always out in the community. They're always like at Saha, different school districts, they go rural. I mean, they're just kind of all over the place. And we wanted to make sure that they were safe. But kid you not, like almost 2 weeks in to shutting down, it was actually the staff that were calling us, and they were saying, we need to get back out there because our phones are blowing up, because families are running out of food, they're running out of diapers, formula, there's increased domestic violence in the home, they're just needing help. So together with the team, we figured it out and found ways to keep them safe and how they could return to the community. I mean, they were doing like literally drive-by counseling services. They were doing drive-by diaper drop-offs and drive-by food delivery at people's homes and still maintaining social distance. Like they got so creative.
Wow.
But again, the focus is prevention, right? Coming in early, right before that crisis really takes a turn for the worst, and ensuring that families have the needed resources, are getting, what they need in the immediacy, and also starting to connect with programs and with people, just so they feel supported. So then that way, if things start worsening, then hopefully they can reach out and they won't delay that time, for them to be able to get help. And we're really happy to say that already year to date, the program has served close to 3,500 unduplicated individuals. So they have served a lot of people.
Wow.
And met a
And that's
lot of people.
despite, the crisis that we have going on right now.
Yes.
Do those numbers look different than other years?
Yeah, very much so, because last year at this point in time, we had served close to about 2,000
Wow.
unduplicated individuals. So to already be at almost 3,500 at this same point last year, I mean, that clearly shows that, I mean, we had a huge increase during March and April. But a lot of it was just, going out there and doing a lot of the basic needs in the mental health services. But again, that's part of breaking generational trauma, right? Is making sure that we're coming in at all the different angles when it comes to really addressing that cycle. And then in regards to like our intervention programming, that's the kind of programming that we like to refer to that really is addressing like the current crisis. So that is a lot of our foster care programming, a lot of our adoption programming. We're going to be having some new programming opening up for runaway homeless youth and young adults, which, as you know, are extremely susceptible to exploitation and trafficking. So we're really excited to be able to open up those beds. We're projected to open up in January. We'll make a larger announcement on what that program is going to look, but it's going to be small, but it's going to be beds specifically targeted to young adults 22 to 20 to 24 that are pregnant and parenting. So we also want to be able to serve kind of the most vulnerable population within an already vulnerable population. But we do a lot of work with families and young children and that level of trauma. So that's where we're going to be focusing on there. And then we have our restorative programming, and that's where our My Mariposa home program falls, which is basically our long-term restorative program for our adult women survivors with and without children that have been impacted by domestic violence, sexual assault, and trafficking. That one was opened in February of 2019. And year to date, we have already served close to 385 survivors. Our discharge rate actually runs less than 17%, which is absolutely huge for that population and the level of trauma that we consistently see. It's phase-based, so it really is meant more for survivors that are further along the continuum of care. So I do want to make mention of that. Our program isn't set up as an emergency placement. It's really set up for survivors that are just they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They really want to make some active choices in their life, but they just really need that support system. They need some housing, but along with the housing, they really are ready to take hold and grab hold of those supportive services. So we have on-site licensed clinicians in the case management team, medical coordinator, direct support professionals. So we will hug them with a bunch of love day in and day out as we walk alongside with them in this journey. But I would say like the keystone uniqueness of our program is our trauma-informed job placement. Because as we all know, part of for our women to not return to the life is there still has to be some form of financial sustainability. I mean, there has to be financial security in their life. I mean, that everybody needs that, right? No one's outside of that. So in our work here, alongside helping them process their trauma, we combine our mental health with our work placement, because we understand that oftentimes for a lot of our survivors, entering into more traditional kind of work environments can be very triggering for them. And that oftentimes can result in loss of job, them either not wanting to explore a certain career or, even wanting to pursue education, just because the stress, kind of associated with that endeavor can be really just oftentimes too overwhelming and too much for them. So being able to have our clinicians work closely with our job placement person has been an absolute godsend. And we are able to see a huge impact with that, because our women are able to really approach the work environment in a different way, in a way also where they're much more aware of what's going on with their mind, body, and spirit as they're entering work, to make it a lot more sustainable, and that's our overall core. So already within the year, we have had at least 3 to 4 women that have already moved out on their own, maintained employment, got their own apartment. We have a lot of women already in the 3rd phase of the program, which means they're already working toward that gainful employment. We have one woman who actually earned her certified medical assistance license. And this was somebody literally that had like a 7th grade education. So she never thought she would ever be able to, earn that kind of licensure, nonetheless get a job from her externship. And, now she's on her way out into her own apartment with her daughter. So being able to see those kinds of things really kind of lets us know we're on the right track. We still have a ton of work to do. We're still a very new program, but we take a huge focus on trauma-informed care, and not just saying that we're trauma-informed care, we live it and breathe it. It's in our organizational values. It's something that all our staff are trained on. It's not just a one program thing. It's something that Providence really understands, again, that in our work to end the cycle of generational trauma, it's about truly being trauma-informed, compassionate, and really developing and creating program services for people that we love. Like, we don't make services just for people. we make services for people that we love. Because when you think of it like that, your heart goes into programming in a different way. You have a different level of compassion and empathy, right? Because when you're thinking of these are people that we love, right? Human to human, we should all love each other, in this very compassionate, dignified way. That's really how we pride ourselves in how we develop programming here.
That's wonderful. Wow, that's a lot that you do, but I feel like it really does encompass like a whole, just all of it, right? You take care of the family part of it, you take care of the women and the children and all of that. And it's not just one particular case. It's multifaceted. It's a whole lot of different things that you take care of. That's wonderful. And it's exciting to hear about your staff and how they are, were willing to go out there even during these times to just take care of the issue. I think that people don't realize that even organizations like yours and others around our city that fight against human trafficking or abuse and things like that are also considered essential workers. Y'all are out there and there's women and children and boys and men that need you during these times. And I think that we don't really consider y'all essential workers, but it's important that we start to see that holistically. We need each other.
My daughter actually has a COVID hero day on Thursday, and she's going to go dressed up as a social worker.
I love that. Yay, her.
Yeah, because she was here with me during the pandemic when we were here at work. And, so yeah, she really got to see at 9 years of age, up close and personal, what, being an essential worker is. So yeah, most definitely our staff here are the absolute heroes for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's important. And I think we need to, see that. And in all fairness, we've never really lived something like this. So it's hard to think about it. But as you all come up with creative things to do during this time, do you think that some of those things you'll just adopt permanently and change the way you've been doing things?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We were able to meet an exponential need. So yeah, in all our programs, we have kind of taken a step back and be able to look at, even admission process, how better we can do interviewing, and how better we can just get out there in the community and be able to deliver services in just some more creative ways for sure. Yeah. Blessing in disguise.
Definitely. Yeah. No, that's amazing. So let's see here. I had a few questions for you. How is Providence Place breaking the cycle of human trafficking in our city?
Yeah, so definitely, I think we're making a huge impact with My Money for Home, but also, like I said, even with all our other programming, because with Parenting with a Purpose, when we're coming in so early on, it's not uncommon for our Parenting with a Purpose staff to identify, when they're working with families, that something might be going on, especially when they get called for domestic violence situations, because as you know, oftentimes trafficking kind of lurks behind the mask of domestic violence and sexual assault, and there's a lot more there. But a lot of times it just takes that, increased rapport and connection for people to feel safe and for people to be able to start having, some of those conversations regarding, yeah, there's domestic violence and assault history, but, could it have possibly been from the exploitative side? Could it have really been trafficking? And oftentimes people, they go through that experience, it's either they don't identify it as such, they can identify it as domestic violence really easily, but they don't really identify it as trafficking or being exploited or anything like that. And, and oftentimes it's something that's been going on for so long for them, but once that rapport is really established and they really feel a sense of connection, we can really start making some headway to really figure out, what kind of actual trauma we're really looking at, so on the preventative side, I think just us being able to just even establish again those really compassionate connections on the community really allows us to again better just gather the information that we need to really gain better insight on what exactly it is that we're looking at, and how to best address the issue. In our foster adoption program, same thing. I mean, we're placing a lot of kids in foster homes that have unfortunately a lot of trafficking history. And it's the same thing. And oftentimes we place kiddos in home where their common application doesn't have anything regarding trafficking and exploitation, but it's not until after they're in a safe home and a safe environment and they're working with the staff that all of a sudden things get disclosed, and it's like, whoa, none of that was here. You know, and it's sad, but again, it just really highlights the need for those compassionate interactions, because people have to feel safe in order to be able to disclose, you know, what really has been going on. You know, and then obviously with My Mariposa Home, that's its focus on the restorative end, on, I think, really letting survivors know that there truly is light at the end of the tunnel. There's more.
Yeah.
You know, I know for a lot of survivors, it can be really hard, you know, especially when people start talking to them about, oh, well, you know, you just need to go into this program or do this supportive service and things will get better and things like that. And the fact of the matter is, we have to acknowledge how hard this journey is. You know, you can surround people with a million types of supportive services, but for us to just accept or expect that they're just gonna take it and run with it, that's not realistic, and that's not okay, and that's also not respecting trauma, nor respecting the change journey. You know, because everyone's change journey is chaotic. That's reality, right? So I think it's really about us really working in a way where we can step into that reality and we don't sugarcoat it. You know, we just face what it looks like. And in most days it looks ugly. In most days it's frustrating for everybody involved. But with time and patience, it works. It most definitely does. There really is hope, you know, and it's there in those little moments, you know, and people just need people to support each other. You know, so I think for our survivors to know that they have a community where they can come and they're not going to be judged by their steps backwards, or if chaos arises, they're not going to be judged on that. Or if they come and they're not ready as they thought and they need to take a step back, that's okay. They'll come home when they're ready. You know, so it's just this very long, jagged process. And I think for us, that's the way that we're making the most impact, is being able, like I said, for us to really step into the issue in the most realistic way, and just really trying to build a home and community for our women, you know, to just really see themselves in a different way, rebuild their sense of self-worth, you know, and find who they are as a person, you know, because that takes a long time too. You know, it takes a really long time to find yourself again. You know, nonetheless, if you have a kid too, you know, or if you're pregnant and, you know, you have all these other layers upon layers, you know, it takes a while, you know, and we're fortunate to see women in our program ranging from all ages, literally from age 18 to age 60. You know, so, I mean, we see the breadth of the lifespan in one program. You know, so again, I just think our greatest impact is just being able to really create that restorative community for our survivors, and you know, and what we try to, you know, create the most non-judgmental, you know, home that we can.
Yeah, no, you said a lot there that is just so important, and I'm glad that you painted a good picture for us to really understand, you know, the process and just the care that it takes to be a part of this program. So knowing what we know about, you know, the aftercare side and the restorative part of that, and how long-term care really, I mean, it takes a long time, right? It's not, sometimes it's a lifelong thing, and in most cases it is. How does that make awareness so important, so that we are catching and preventing at the beginning of all of this, and you know, helping people through that? What makes awareness so important in your experience?
You know, again, I just go back to the necessity for that multi-pronged approach. You know, prevention, intervention, and restoration all have to happen simultaneously. It really can't be one or the other, one before the other. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of a crisis where everything kind of has to move and groove at the same time. I think the powerful thing about having restoration and having survivors kind of go through a program and come out the other end is you start having, you know, those survivor leaders and those mentors that they can help in the awareness cause, you know, and really be able to reach out to individuals kind of early on in the life. I mean, it even happens here, like in our, we also have apartments here on site that are geared for youth that have aged out of care. And again, right, the majority of kids that age out of care, unfortunately, have been subjected to exploitation. So it's not uncommon for us to see an 18-year-old come in here, and we have some grave concerns just regarding her relationships out in the community and people she's associating with. We'll reach out to a woman in Mariposa and we'll be like, hey, you want to touch base with our girl over here, you know, and then we'll let them know too, like, hey, you know what, we got women over there that, you know, are 50, 60 years of age, and, you know, they've seen a lot of stuff, if not more, you know, so kind of help on that awareness piece, on the survivor piece, but also awareness in our community. I'm going to throw a plug for us. We have our virtual gala coming up this Friday. So I really hope people tune in. It's going to be on Facebook Live, but we have a survivor on there that she wanted to tell her story. Because, you know, we're always very like, we don't want to necessarily put our survivors out as, you know, to do any of like our advertising or anything like that. But it was really unique because when she heard about what we were doing in regards to the virtual gala, and we were doing interviews and things like that, she said she wanted to talk because she wanted to talk to survivors. She wanted to talk to other women. And she asked us who's going to be watching this. And we're like, well, you know what? We don't know. It's going to be our first virtual gala. We've never done a virtual gala. We're like, you know, if it's going to be on Facebook, and it's probably going to be everybody and anybody on there, you know, that could possibly watch it. And she really was like, you know, do you think there might be survivors? And I'm like, you know, anybody can be a survivor. So yes, you never know what's going on in a person's life. So she was like, that's why I want to do it. I want to talk to somebody else, you know, that I wish I could have heard talk to me early on. So that was really cool and powerful to kind of even see her mindset on how she wanted to come forward and really kind of bring awareness to the issue, you know, but again, first and foremost, an opportunity for her to be able to talk to somebody else that either might be going through that situation or on the verge of entering that situation, you know, unbeknownst to them, and they might not know what to look for, or how to seek help. She wanted to be able to talk to survivors directly. So we're super excited. So you can see her interview definitely at when our virtual gala airs.
That's so exciting. and I love that approach. You're absolutely right. I think we get folks to become survivors, right, and really thrive in that. But then it's like, what do you do after that? So that's incredible that she was thinking of that and coming back in and encourage her. Or I'm excited to hear what everything she has to say. That's super exciting. What are some needs that you're seeing at Providence Place that you feel like the community could really help to become involved in, or can help fill the needs?
Oh yeah, I think first and foremost, obviously, I'll be very honest, monetary donations are always the best. Unrestricted funds for any nonprofit organization, you know, it's critical because again, part of creating a trauma-informed care environment is making sure that, you know, our apartments are nice, they're comfortable, our lights are working, our AC is running nicely. We're an old building, you know, so ACs always are breaking and lights
especially
are
in Texas.
Yes, exactly. You know, so and you know, and we have a lot, you know, we have up to 20 women at any given time up in the dorm. So, you know, it's a lot of strain on our grid, you know. So obviously, and you know, monetary donations assist with just us ensuring that we have a building that can house people and keep people safe first and foremost. Also then funds for groceries and those basic everyday needs. Household items. You'd be amazed how much laundry detergent costs. It's a lot. You know, cleaning supplies, especially now with COVID, even more so, right? As making sure that, you know, the dorm is consistently sanitized and things like that, and everybody's kept safe. You know, everything too. We're a 25-acre campus. We're a huge campus, you know, so us being able to maintain our grounds, all as a part of trauma-informed care too, you know, because we have a very peaceful, you know, very serene kind of atmosphere here. And that's something that's really critical in their healing. Another big thing is clothing for work. And then another big one are just work partnerships. I will say that we have a board member, David Lynn, who is on our board, and Lynn Properties has really stepped up to actually provide not just vocational training, but actual work placement. Like we already have 4 women employed with Lynn. And working in apartment management is phenomenal because we have women everywhere from either housekeeping to actually being lease managers. And we have one already on her way that's being mentored to actually be a manager of one of the complexes. You know, so being able to find that partnership was great because it just really provided an extensive array of options, specifically work options for our women. So I really feel that if we have help from the community with other partners like Lynn that are willing to step up and really be able to not just offer training. I don't mean to be insensitive. I love training, that's great. But we have also an educational and a work readiness person here on site. We can do the training, we can prepare people on resumes and all that stuff. I need jobs. I need business partners to step up and be able to really offer our women a chance and an opportunity for actual work. We're going to be there. We have the therapists, like I said, we work with the women on the soft skills. We partner with, like, for example, with Lynn, we also offer training to Lynn. We offer trauma-informed care training to Lynn, and we do our part too, because right, a partnership is a two-way street. So we're just not asking this to be a one-side deal. We're just looking for more partners that are willing to engage with us to really help our women truly achieve that financial sustainability.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I hope that if people are listening and they are able to do this, that they jump on board, contact you.
Yes.
And how do people get a hold of you or of the organization? Do they just look you up online?
Yeah, they could just go up to our website. Also, if there are, if anybody's needing help for My Mariposa Home, we actually can just email mariposa@profplace.org, and that goes to multiple individuals. We also have info@profplace.org, another great email to use, and that also goes to multiple people in the organization, so we can go ahead and you know, answer people's questions if it's either how do I donate, or how do I partner with y'all to provide jobs, or how do I get help, you know, for myself or somebody else that I love. Info@profplace.org or mariposa@profplace.org.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I am so glad that we did this.
Yeah. Thank you.